I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
More
You
No
podcast.
Today I want to discuss Dan Clarke's 12 Laws of Significance that he discusses in The Art of Significance, which is my favorite book. And this book is a must-read for anybody, and I've also got a chapter that surrounds this whole book in my own book, The More You Know. And the whole focus of these 12 laws, his book, as well as the chapter in my book, is to create a shift in focus from success to significance, meaning to not care so much about external things, materialism, as well as success in general, and instead focus on significance that impacts the world. And by understanding and applying these 12 laws, you'll no doubt make that shift from focusing on success to significance. And I want to go through the 12 laws now. Law number 1 is practice obedience instead of free will agency. And by obedience, what that means is that you're focused on doing the right thing, not only for yourself, but for others, as well as not allowing your free will to get in the way of making the right choice. Law number 2 is exercise perseverance instead of patience. And what this means is that as you're going through the process of life, you must not be idle and timid, meaning that you can't simply just be patient about everything falling into place in your life, and instead you need to persevere through the process of making it happen. Law number 3 is to proactively stretch instead of change. And what this means is that you should stick to who you are and gradually improve who you are, and not stray away from who you are. Law number 4 is to then trust predictably instead of having hope and faith. And this is similar to the patience touched on in law number 2. Being patient and hoping and having faith that something will happen is not enough to create significance in your life and in the world. You must have trust in yourself and in the universe, but it must be predictable due to the effort that you put into the process. Law number 5 is to know the whole truth rather than just believe what you think. And this ties into law number 3 regarding change. And the whole essence of this law is that you must go beyond your own personal opinions and beliefs and be willing to stretch and find the truth about reality in order to craft significance in your life and in the world. If you're stubborn and you only believe what you believe and you never stretch and find truth that goes beyond that, you'll be stuck with a level of ignorance. Then law 6 is to focus on winning instead of team. And this might sound kind of counterintuitive, but the whole essence of it is something that was also touched on in my podcast with David Meltzer. And the reality of any situation is that if you aren't focused on doing your best in the present moment, and you're focused on others instead, such as your team, your spouse, your family, whoever it may be, you'll never be able to focus on doing your best in the present moment. And as long as you maintain the proper perspective, what this does is assist in performing your best in the present moment, which is what's best for your team overall, and if everybody on the team is doing the same, you'll all find high levels of success. We then reach Law 7, which is focusing on doing the right thing rather than being the best. I think this is one of the most important distinguishments between success and significance. At times, to be successful, you have to do things that aren't the right thing to do, things that are unethical or flat out wrong. And by placing priority on doing the right thing instead of being the best, you ensure that you maintain morals and values surrounding what you do, and that's a must for crafting a life of significance. We then reach Law 8, which is to experience harmony instead of focusing on balance. And in life, nothing 100% turns out how it's supposed to, and nothing's perfect. So by trying to establish balance in your life and then going with the flow by experiencing harmony in life, you'll be living a life that's centered around significance, rather than success in the achievement of having balance in your life. After that, Law 9 is to accept others rather than judging them. In order to craft a life of significance, you must be able to impact others. And if you're constantly judging and criticizing rather than accepting people for who they are, you're never going to be able to impact them because they'll never listen to you. After that, Law 10 is love and be needed, instead of romanced and used. And this law surrounds the true significance of loving others and being loved. When you go through romance, that's a form of lust. When you and the other person genuinely value one another and need one another, that's love. And that's one of the most important aspects of the human experience. Law 11 is to then establish covenants instead of commitments. Covenants have a level of passion and belief that go beyond a simple commitment. If you're trying to find success in life, you must be committed, obviously. But in order to make true impacts through significance, it must be a covenant between you and whatever it is that you're pursuing, driven by passion and your belief of making it a reality. Finally, we reach Law 12, which is to forgive instead of apologize. And this aligns with Law 9 of accepting others instead of judging others. It's important to not only understand people and accept them, but also forgive them. And on top of that, it's very important to be able to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is one of the most important skills and traits to acquire in life. And by forgiving yourself and others more often, you'll be able to not only focus more on crafting your life of significance, but impact others at a higher level. One of my biggest motivations in life, and the whole reason why I started this podcast and wrote a book, was to create the understanding surrounding crafting a life of significance rather than just simply being successful. And by understanding and applying these 12 laws, you'll no doubt be going down the path of crafting a life of significance.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
More.
You
No.
podcast.